Good afternoon, everybody. My name is D.A. King. We're going to do a very short press conference today. The focus will be the fact that in 2006, we passed a law here in Georgia called the Georgia Security and Immigration Compliance Act. Essentially a law saying that here in Georgia, we have to obey and help enforce existing federal immigration and employment law. The reason I am here today at the deep end of the pool is because that law is being laughed at by most every local elected official in this state. The law is being ignored. I'm going to outline that. I'm very, very grateful for the elected officials behind me having taken time out of their busy day today. I will not make this a long event, but I do ask for 15 minutes to make my point. Before I get to that, I want to make it clear I am president of the Dustin Inman Society. We are a nonprofit group of citizens and real legal immigrants of all descriptions who are trying to educate the people and the public on the consequences of illegal immigration. We have a board of advisors at the Dustin Inman Society. Before I go any further, I'm going to take just a minute to introduce the newest addition to the board of advisors, my friend and a great American, a lady named Inger Eberhart. Inger Eberhart, everybody. Inger is going to help me in the Capitol. We're going to see what we can do about getting this law enforced. And I think she has just a few words she would like to say to you, and I think it's important that we listen. Thank you.
And good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to speak before you today. My name is Inger Eberhart, and I am a proud Georgian and an Atlanta native. D.A. King is a tireless advocate for justice for the American worker, and I'm very proud to be associated with him and the Dustin Inman Society. I hope to be able to assist D.A. in the wonderful work he's been doing for the last 5 years. My intent is to spend as much time as possible here in the Capitol during the legislative session, doing what I can as a citizen to urge all concerned to do everything we can to guarantee equal application of the rule of law. I will be focused on the Georgia Security and Immigration Compliance Act of 2006. Like DA, I am opposed to the crimes of illegal immigration and employment at any time, but even more so during these desperate economic times that we face. The poorest Americans are losing jobs and services, and it's not a secret that the first Americans affected by illegal immigration are African Americans and native-born Hispanics. The U.S. has a rich tradition of lawful immigration, and we should be proud of that fact. Having said that, I've been watching it happen and believe that the constant attempt to blur the line between real, legal immigration and illegal aliens is a shameful and transparent insult to real immigrants in our society of immigration. I believe that our legal immigration levels should be reasonable and sustainable, and that immigration should serve the interests of the American people. Again, I'm very proud to be here and for the opportunity to be able to join DA's effort. I will do my best to respectfully share my opinions and provide input on pending legislation in committee during the legislative session. While I do not want to dwell on it today, I want to make something very clear. I am aware of ongoing efforts to equate illegal immigration and people who are living in the United States in defiant violation of our laws to the civil rights struggle in African Americans who in the past have been denied the rights of U.S. citizens. As an African American, noting that she was the first black woman to be elected to Congress from the Deep South, I want to close by noting the wisdom of the late Barbara Jordan. In one of her 1995 reports to Congress, after she was appointed by then-President Bill Clinton to chair a commission to study and make official recommendations on gaining credibility on immigration. Those who should get in, those who should be kept out are kept out, and those who should not be here will be required to leave. Deportation is crucial, and employer sanctions can work. The Jordan Commission's advice was as reasonable, valid, and instructive then as it is today. I will be respectfully reminding people of that for as long as necessary. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, DA.
Pretty radical stuff. Thank you very much, Inger. Okay, I've explained the Dustin Inman Society. I want to make something else very clear. My adopted sister is a real legal immigrant. Inger hit it pretty well when she talked about immigration. I want to make something crystal clear in that no reasonable person I've ever met, including myself, blames anybody for wanting to live and work in the United States. But neither do we have anything to apologize for when it comes to immigration. As a nation, we take in more than 1 million immigrants every year, more than any other nation on the planet. I think a goal for a lot of people who are against enforcing our immigration laws is to have totally open borders, and it would serve everybody's purposes very well if they would find the courage to admit that. Right now, as we speak, very brave Border Patrol agents are risking their lives on our borders trying to stop illegal entries into our country. I think people forget that as well. I remember when Senate Bill 529, the Georgia Security and Immigration Compliance Act, was being legislated and went through committee. There were rallies, protests, marches of all descriptions from people of all walks of life who did not want this to become law because they profit in various ways from the organized crime that is illegal immigration. I don't think people fully understand the fact that these people won. The law passed, but it's not being enforced. The very far left fringe, the un-American element in our state has been successful in deterring the enforcement of the Georgia Security and Immigration Compliance Act. I have learned how boring it can be to try and explain this law to people, but I've also learned how few people understand the law. So just one small part of it requires that an e-verify system that verifies employment eligibility be used by every public employer in this state and most of their contractors. On July 1st, that will be all of their contractors. That is not happening. More importantly to me, or just as importantly, Section 9 of the law requires that all applicants for public benefits verify their eligibility through a two-step process, that being swearing on an affidavit to either lawful alien status or being a U.S. citizen. That affidavit is supposed to be collected by every agency in this state that administers public benefits. That is not happening. Having collected the affidavit, if it was being done, these local governments are supposed to verify it using an available federal database called the SAVE system. There's 159 counties in Georgia. There are 535 cities in Georgia. The list of users of this SAVE system that is mandated by law numbers 12. 12 agencies in this state are using the SAVE system. They are listed on 3 pages of notebook paper. This is clear defiance of the law. I was here and lobbied for the bill. I never dreamed that it would be the local governments in Georgia that would refuse to comply with the bill or the law. I'm hoping to make that very, very public and rectify it. A good example of what's happening, while we are getting ready to cut our budget and try to find 10% in our budget, we are paying for K through 12 education for people who have no legal right to be in this country and their dependents. We are paying for health care for people who have no legal right to be in this country and their dependents. The correct name for people who are in this country with no legal right to be here is an illegal alien. While we are trying to find room in our budget to provide the services and benefits and protections to Americans in their own country, we are diverting part of that precious dollar to pay for the care and education and incarceration of illegal aliens. Call me crazy, but I think we can find 10% in our budget if we enforce our laws. Nationwide, we have proven that enforcement works. Every place the law is enforced, illegal aliens migrate out of that community.